What's going on, everyone? My name's Tenebris Infinite, and today we are going to talk about what potentially will be the next ultimate vehicle that we will see here in Generation Zero. And that vehicle will be a skateboard. There's probably nothing more iconic to the 90s than this four-wheeled method of transportation other than maybe this noise here.
What's up? Hello? What's up? What's up?
A skateboard would offer us a mobile method of transportation, a piece of equipment we could carry, place, and pick up that would be great for on-the-go travels, could offer some fun quirks, and might even have the potential of being something very unique to Generation Zero. So even though this guy didn't fare so well using a skateboard to escape the machines, I think we'll be able to be better off than he did. And the benefit of portable transportation would actually be pretty huge. One of the biggest things that makes bikes difficult to enjoy is that we have to spawn them in at safe houses, and then we're kind of left with the terrain and whether or not that will allow us to ride our bike off, and that could be a hassle. Added to how kind of slapstick humory the bike ragdolling is, means that probably not many players get to use bikes, at least in their casual day-to-day gaming, unless if they seek it out. A portable form of transportation would potentially become a mainstay in our inventories, would free up skill points from stamina and run speed for players making new builds, and best of all, would look absolutely sick as fuck. I mean, we already have a chance to do Matt Hoffman proud. What better than getting Tony Hawk in here too? I mean, seriously, we can already channel one great extreme sport deity in our game. Why not another? Really, what other game do you get both Matt Hoffman and Tony Hawk in the same game? None! Like, if we fused Matt Hoffman and Tony Hawk together, it would probably be... Oh my god, what have I done? No, but completely on the level here, if we got a tried and true skateboard in the game, it would actually be huge. Maybe we could use it to ollie up slopes that the bike previously would have had a hard time with. And maybe we could have a small chance of doing a trick as you do a jump. And that, as you probably should, you could wipe out and eat shit from, just like we did in the 90s, dude. Small aside as I'm making this video here, this whole scanning thing from the Soviet machines, it's super cool. You get the same scanning thing from like other machines and stuff, but you can really set up some like pretty sick scenarios where you're being scanned and behind walls and stuff. Now there's another game from Avalanche Studios which is using this exact same game engine that Generation Zero runs on, the Apex engine, that has a skateboard of its own in it. And that is Just Cause 4, dude! It has a hoverboard in it, so it's kind of a skateboard, even though it doesn't have the wheel part of the skateboard. It's got the board part of the skateboard. And this hoverboard is massively useful in Just Cause 4. You can use this to totally avoid fall damage just the second before you hit the ground. And imagine how useful that would be in Generation Zero. This hoverboard even has the same concept in mind, where it's like when you jump, you randomly have a chance of doing a trick. There's only a handful of tricks that you could do, but still, just having that little bit of a random factor really spices up riding around on the hoverboard. And in Just Cause 4, just like our own bikes, there are a handful of skins you can get for the hoverboard. Taking the same idea in mind for our own hypothetical skateboard in Generation Zero, we could maybe see some of the iconic in-game bands used as decals on the bottom of our skateboard. Barb Rose, Ashes of Flesh, that sort of deal. Maybe, if the opportunity is there, we could get some really interesting artwork to examine on our skateboard as well. The opportunity for having interesting, lootable, customizable, or obtainable skateboards in Generation Zero is very high, and even though it would be kind of departing from our vehicle structure that the cycle has put in place, I don't think that that's entirely a bad thing here, and offering us an opportunity to have a vehicle that we could take with us and utilize whenever we need to, I think would be a massive benefit to players overall. Even though a skateboard wouldn't be the crazy vehicle that some people maybe would like to see here in Generation Zero, like a dirt bike or a friggin' tank or something like that, I think the novelty of the skateboard, as well as its iconic semblance to the 90s, would again, just kind of add that, like, more down-to-earth kind of feeling that Generation Zero keeps with it. But let's circle on back to hoverboards for a second here, because in our latest Q&A sesh with Generation Zero's lead developer Björn, we got this fun answer to the idea of vehicles.
Be a vehicle you put in the game to drive.
Yeah, good one.
I mean, thinking about the theme, like a hoverboard or something.
Oh, yes, that would be also.
And before you start thinking, oh man, it's just gonna be a cut and copy paste of the Just Cause 4 hoverboard with like anti-gravity technology, we have other methods of flight in this game that we could totally utilize to create some sort of a crazy hoverboard here in Generation Zero. The technology used in Seekers would be so awesome to see dismantled, maybe slapped on a reinforced board. It would offer a faster method of transportation than regular skateboard pumping, and maybe would not have some of the jank a wheeled vehicle goes hand in hand with in video games in general. And looking back to how the hoverboard saves fall damage in Just Cause, our own hoverboard could offer the exact same benefit, finally giving us at least one method to deal with Generation Zero's most difficult enemy, fall damage. Now there are 3 parts on a Seeker that I think we could utilize towards creating a hoverboard. First of all being the main fan that the Seeker uses to give its kind of primary thrust and lift in the air. And then we have the 2 thrusters, and these provide more so like directional movement as well as control. And what we can see from the Seekers is that they're actually pretty agile. Out of all the enemies in the game, they zip around on the battlefield rather quickly and rather fluidly. And this is something that could totally benefit us with our hoverboards, giving us the primary lift that we need from the main fan section, maybe having like 2 of them to support the weight of a, like, you know, full-grown Swedish teenager, and then we've got the 2 thrusters that we could use for directionally controlling ourselves as we zip around on our hoverboards, potentially. It sounds crazy to even say, but admittedly with Pandora's box being opened in Generation Zero, this is the low bar of how sci-fi we're going to be getting as time goes on here in Generation Zero. Which has me just stoked. A hoverboard is going to potentially not be that crazy high-tech of a thing in the near future of Generation Zero, that's just mental, man. So, dudes, you know the deal. Sound off in the comment section down below if you haven't already on what your thoughts for a skateboard or a hoverboard in Generation Zero might be. Do you still think that a dirt bike would be a better option? Definitely voice that if that's how you're feeling. But for now, my dudes, stay awesome. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Until then, peace.